All right, today I am joined here today with Captain James Robinson with the Springville Fire Department, and he is going to talk with us today about uh, the fire department trade and what you have to do to be a paid firefighter in the state of Alabama. So, thanks for being here today, James. We appreciate you taking your time out of your day today and talking with us about firefighting in the state of Alabama. Uh, First question of the day is to be a firefighter in the state of Alabama, what are some of your entry level job duties?
Entry-level firefighters in the state of Alabama have to be at least 18 years of age and possess a high school diploma or a GED. For most organizations, no college experience is necessary prior to coming on the job. A number of organizations use a testing process, either through a civil service board or the equivalent. There will be pre-employment testing to determine a list of qualified applicants. Some organizations require that an individual either be an EMT prior to coming on the job or within a period of time after obtaining the job. Once you're hired, the state provides a period of 1 year, and during that year, a candidate has to complete a recruit academy. That is a 10-week program of study, 400 hours of study, and that training can be delivered. In some cases, in larger departments, they'll provide the training internally. It can also be provided through the Alabama Fire College or through one of the network of Fire College regional training centers.
Okay, so you said the fire recruit school is 10 weeks long. How long is the EMT program?
EMT training is about 180 hours. Now that training is provided in several different formats. It can be an accelerated program that can be conducted over as little as 1 month. Most programs that provide EMT training do so in a couple of sessions per week, either during the day or in the evening, and the program of study lasts for about 13 weeks. Typically, an EMT basic program includes 140 hours of classroom content, about 80 hours of lab content, and then there's some clinical training that occurs at either a fire department, an ambulance service, and some in the emergency department.
And the employer that's hiring you typically pays for these courses?
In most cases, they do. In virtually all cases, if a person is hired by a fire department, the fire department will provide paid training, meaning they will pay you to go to school and they will pay the cost of attending a recruit academy. Now, somebody that has an interest in firefighting can self-sponsor, meaning they can on their own seek firefighter training at the fire college or through one of the regional training centers and sort of pre-equip yourself with the necessary training to obtain employment. EMT training may be provided by the employer at the employer's cost, or in some cases, if it's a prerequisite requirement, meaning they want you to have EMT training before you come on the job, then that may be something that you have to obtain on your own.
Okay. So if you hired me to work for you and I started my job tomorrow, what would my day look like if I came into work tomorrow?
The fire department provides services, both fire protection services, emergency medical services, and a variety of rescue services on a 24-hour-a-day, 365-day-a-year format. So most organizations provide what's called a 3-platoon system. We have an A shift, B shift, and a C shift, and a shift lasts for 24 hours. So typically you would report for duty at 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning and would continue until 7 or 8 o'clock the following day. Most organizations have sort of a routine to their day that begins with checking vehicles and equipment for readiness, company level training or individual training is usually a part of everybody's day. Most organizations make time for some physical fitness training, and then a variety of emergency responses are interspersed through the day randomly. In most organizations, your standard be up and about working day runs to about 5 in the evening, and then you have some downtime where your principal responsibility is being ready to answer an emergency call. But there aren't any assigned duties other than, making a meal and cleaning up and that sort of thing.
Okay, so once I'm hired, will I be required to have a degree of some sort?
Most entry-level fire department jobs do not require a college degree. However, there are opportunities to promote through the organization. There are promotions for company-level supervisors or officers, and then most organizations have opportunities for administrative staff all the way up to and including the fire chief's job. Some organizations will require a college degree for some of those upper level positions, but don't typically do so for entry level jobs.
Will there be opportunities for like on the job training, or will I have to go to somewhere else to get most of my education?
Most organizations provide some sort of career development path or a plan. In my own organization, we have job descriptions for each level, for a firefighter, for a driver, for a company officer, and so on. And certain training is required to fill each of those positions. We provide paid training as is required and make available a wide variety of training opportunities both inside the organization where training is held on site, and then we will send people to external training at the fire college or other training institutions to satisfy some of the other requirements.
What are some different advancement opportunities that I may have starting out from, like, how do I go from being the new guy up to the chief?
There's several different paths that one can take through the fire department. Obviously, everybody starts out as a firefighter. Typically, the first level of advancement or promotion is from the firefighter role to the driver. A driver or a sergeant is responsible for operating the vehicle. It's a position where you have additional responsibilities in caring for the apparatus, driving and operating it responsibly. From there, a lieutenant is typically the first level of supervision. The lieutenant is responsible for managing a group of firefighters. We call that a company. So if you look at the typical arrangement in the fire department, you have a crew assigned to a vehicle. That vehicle has a lieutenant who's in charge, a driver who's responsible for operating the vehicle, and then one or more firefighters assigned to the company. Beyond that, a captain may supervise a station, or a captain may have an administrative responsibility where they supervise operational tasks or training or emergency medical services. As I mentioned earlier, the fire department is an all hazards organization. We obviously respond to fires. We deal with emergency medical events, a variety of different rescue situations, hazardous materials, and most fire departments also provide inspection, investigation, public education, and other services to the community. So there's really a broad array of opportunities within the fire department to specialize in a given discipline, and that may include additional opportunities for training, may make available different opportunities for raises or increased compensation, that sort of thing. So really a person's able to identify an area that they specialize in that field within their service in the fire department.
Are there any other advancement opportunities past the captain's position?
Yeah, typically after captain, depending on the size of the organization, there may be chief roles. That could be battalion chief, assistant or deputy chiefs, and then obviously the fire chief, who's the chief executive of the organization. The chief's role involves managing the department from both an operational and an administrative perspective, handling everything from budgetary concerns and financial concerns, human resource management, and literally the same as a CEO would have in a private business.
Well, everybody's always curious about salaries, so let's talk about salaries statewide from firefighter to chief.
There's a great deal of disparity in salary across the state of Alabama. I would say that generally speaking, the greatest or the best wages are within the central Alabama area surrounding the Birmingham metropolitan area. You also have areas around Huntsville, Montgomery, and Mobile where you have larger population centers. You see pretty significant wages. A firefighter can expect to start in the high 30,000 range up to about 50-some thousand, depending on the location. And then typically an organization, most of the time a municipal organization, will have some sort of advancement schedule where you get a series of raises over a period of time. And so the top out, or the final salary for a firefighter in a lot of locations can exceed $60,000, $70,000, $80,000. Now, certainly as you promote, you become a lieutenant, you become a captain, or one of these higher ranks, then the salary increases. And if you look at a number of departments around the metro area, people who are lieutenants, captains, and above can easily exceed $100,000 a year.
Okay. If there's anything that you could say that you dislike about the fire service, what would it be?
I've done this job for a very long time, so I don't really think there's anything in particular that I have a strong dislike for. Obviously, every day on my job is different, and there are some things that we do that are less pleasant than others. We obviously deal with people who are sick, people who are injured. We deal with people in very adverse conditions, and that can be mentally and emotionally taxing. So it takes a bit of a constitution to do this job, particularly long term. Not just something of a constitution, but also a good support system within the organization and within your family. But beyond that, I mean, there's not anything that I wholly dislike about the job.
And what do you like the most or love the most about your job?
I think the thing that attracts me most to this job is, number one, an opportunity to help and serve people. And we're able to do that in a variety of different ways. Obviously, we directly help them when they're sick or when they're having an emergency. But as I mentioned, there's also a number of services, public education and otherwise, that allow us to serve the community and make our communities a safer, better place to live. The other thing I like about my job is it's different every day. There are different things that I get to do every single day. It's not boring or mundane. A lot of people get kind of burnt out on the job when they go to a job and they do the same exact thing all day long, every day. I'm not sure that over the course of 25 years in this job, I've had the same day twice.
I got you. And the last question I want to ask you, we talked about salaries, but what are some of the benefit packages as far as like insurances and retirements and things like that you get from being a firefighter?
When you look at a firefighter job, you're typically dealing with a municipality, meaning you're going to be working for a city, and most of those cities are going to provide a benefits package that includes health insurance. Most places will provide single coverage at no charge to the employee, and then they make family coverage available. at a variety of different price points. Some may require a minimal contribution from the employee for family coverage, and other organizations that contribution may be more. It's certainly a shopping point for a lot of guys with young families looking at what benefits are available and what the cost is. Retirement for firefighters is typically provided through Retirement Systems of Alabama, which is a state-sponsored retirement program. A percentage of your pay is contributed to that. It's matched by your employing organization, and most firefighter jobs will allow you to get a full retirement after working 25 years or so. So the retirement benefits are very attractive. A lot of guys that start out just out of high school at say 19 or 20 years old are able to be retired from a fire department job by the time they're 50 years old or so. A lot of organizations provide supplemental benefits that can include specific health coverage like cancer policies, life insurance policies. As I mentioned, our organization provides a lot of opportunities for training at no cost to the employee. And some organizations have different incentives for additional education, meaning you might get an additional pay bump if you obtain an associate's or a bachelor's degree. So benefits packages are generally good within fire department jobs, but there is some variation from organization to organization.
Well, that sounds good. One thing I do want to talk about before we finish up, we've talked about being a paid firefighter. I do see a lot of signs when I drive around the county that said volunteers needed. I do notice that you don't have to be a paid firefighter. You can be a volunteer firefighter. If you have just a few moments, can you explain to us what a volunteer firefighter is, and explain to us the need for volunteers, and do you think it's a good idea for people to be a volunteer firefighter before they try to become a paid firefighter?
Yeah, certainly. I think if you look nationally, it's important to understand that across the United States, about 70% of fire protection services are provided by volunteers. In St. Clair County specifically, we have some career and combination organizations, which means they're made up of both paid and volunteer staff, and then about 50% of the fire departments in St. Clair County are all volunteer. For a person that maybe lives in an area of the county that's served by a volunteer fire department, participation is vital. Without people willing to commit some time and some effort to volunteering, there may not be adequate fire protection services available in that part of the area. Now, for somebody that's got a career minded approach to the fire service, being a volunteer will open doors for you in terms of getting you access to some training that makes you more attractive to a potential employer. If we have a job opening and we're interviewing a candidate and we're talking to somebody that has some volunteer experience, then a lot of the things about the job are already understood. We're dealing with a person that has some basic understanding about what the job entails, and then from that perspective, we're able to help assimilate them to the job a little more easily than somebody that comes in with zero experience.
Okay. Well, James, Captain Robinson, I appreciate you taking the time with me today and going over some of the job and the trade of firefighting. And like I said, I hope that your words will carry a long way with some of these people that may be interested in the fire service and even volunteering in the fire service. And we just thank you for your time.
Absolutely. Thank you.